Alright everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 11 recap. Alright, we are into double digits now, approaching the Thanksgiving holiday. It's never fun. It's fun watching football on Thanksgiving all day long, but it's not fun when you have players going in pretty much every game on Thanksgiving because it's a Thursday, and as we all know, Thursday games tend to suck. However, I don't know, for some reason Thanksgiving games usually are a little bit more interesting. Exciting maybe. But yeah, what happened in week 11? So we only got 3 more weeks to the regular season left to go. Usually at this point in the season it's 2, but we got an extra week now. Have still kind of getting used to that. Anyway, what should we talk about? Well, I guess we should mention first, congratulations, Demise Hooligans. You actually just barely held off Ed Lager, who made a fight. He put up Mahomes and DeAndre Swift. Made this one really close, and A.J. Brown decided to do very little, and making this one actually really close too. Basically, almost everything that Ed needed to happen to win the knockout pool happened, except MVS, obviously, dropping that game-winning pass. That would have been a touchdown at the end of the Eagles game. And then, what's his name? Justin Watson also on like a 4th and 20, 4th and 25, something like that. Mahomes threw him a perfect pass, and it just went right through his guy's hands. Watching that game, that seemed to happen like every other pass that this Watson guy either catches it or it literally bounces right through his hands. Like, dude, you're getting paid. Same with MVS. You guys, this is what you've done your entire adult life. You've trained for this, and you're getting paid millions of dollars. And when the ball hits you right in the hands, you see it coming, and it hits you in the hands, and you can't catch it. Like, man, it's got to be frustrating to be a Chiefs fan after that. However, not nearly as frustrating as it currently is, I guess, to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But anyway, the point is, Demise Hooligans won the knockout pool. Probably one of the closest matchups we've ever had. It looks like you only won by 1.4. So basically, if Mahomes has one more completion for 8 yards, you would have won this game. Really, if on that 4th down play, if somebody would have caught the pass, even if it was short of the 1st down marker, and tried to run with it, that would have been enough. Although I guess Ed, really right now, what's more important is you got the victory, and you are one of the couple teams that's still trying to fight his way back up the standings. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end here instead of first. So we should just get right down to it and talk about the defending champs matchup. That is Biscuits and Porn, who was going up against Gags to Riches, who started off a little bit hot in this matchup. Made Jim kind of have to sweat a little bit. Thought maybe he wasn't going to get a victory. However, who came through? Owen Ross St. Brown came through. Kittle came through. And it wasn't enough from Gags to get a victory here. Biscuits and Porn, 164.25. From Gags to Riches, 145.15. All right, for Biscuits, despite throwing 3 interceptions, Sam Howell gets 31 completions and gets 48.5 points. Actually, more like 48 and a quarter. Amon-Ra goes for 21.5. Devontae goes for 16. Was there something on... Oh, yeah. This one sort of came down to Monday night, I guess we could say. It was... I think Gags had... No, Jim had an 8-point lead. And it was Devontae Smith versus Kadarius Toney. However, Kadarius Toney... I don't think he scored 8 points in any game this year. And yeah, he needed to outscore Devontae Smith by at least 8. And he was obviously not able to do that, as Smith actually quadrupled him, nearly. At least tripled him up. Smith gets 16. Jacoby Myers, 9. Eckler goes for 7. Javonte, 7. Kittle goes for 23. Josh Jacobs, only 6. Sanders, your kicker from Miami, actually kicked a couple field goals this week. It wasn't all extra points. Gets you about 10 point something. And the Detroit Lions defense came through and actually won the game. Got you a safety on the last play of the game. They said they were losing most of this game, came back and won at the end. So that was +3 instead of -3, and they tacked on a safety for you at the end there. So that was 5 more points in a 19-point margin here. But yeah, let's see for Gags, close but no cigar. I think cigar is more of an Ed thing though, isn't it? Tua goes for just under 51. Godwin just under 10. Debo 9. Cooks 7. Jerome Ford, just under 12. Dillon gets 10. Parham, your tight end from the Chargers, goes for 9.5, 9.7. Again, Tony in the flex goes for 4.5. Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker, goes for 7 point something. And your Houston Texans defense get the victory. Yahoo says 15. Looks like you got a 9-point bump there, up to 24. I think I never actually said Detroit defense here. Biscuits, looks like you didn't get too much of a bump. Yahoo says 13. Looks like you must have only gotten like a 3-point bump. So 16 from your defense. But yeah, 19-point victory here. Said Gags, single digits from all his receivers. Not too bad from his running backs and tight end. Tony didn't really do anything for you. But yeah. Jim's wide receivers. Said Amon-Ra obviously got 20. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit when we get to Possum Magic's matchup. Rehash that maybe just a little bit. Anyway, with the victory, Biscuits moves to 6-5. He is in 6th place, while Gags to Riches actually drops to 3-8, and he actually falls into the basement. He is 3-8 and in 12th place. He's got the Phillip Rivers jersey. It's got your name on it, Gags. We're looking at you, buddy. Maybe for next year. All right, what else we got? We should, I guess, what do we want to do? We'll just go right down the line. We'll start, sometimes I go down the line, sometimes I go up the line. We'll go down the line today. We had 2 7-3 teams in a matchup. Hillbillies on PCP versus the Wizard of Winber. Hillbillies had his winning streak snapped last week, needed to get back on it. Wizard trying to keep pace with the Dub C Hooligans. And the Wizard comes out on top this week, 180.8 to 141.9. All right, we got Goff going for 36. Diggs only 6.5. DK 20.5. Puka goes for 18.5. Pollard goes for 18. Rashad White goes for 18. Mark Andrews, as we know, got injured and went out on the first drive of the Thursday night game. Really disappointing because the very first drive of the game, he's already got 2 catches and he was tackled near the goal, like he was running towards the goal line. So thinking of all the things that could have happened potentially in that game with him, but unfortunately he's gone for the year. But after getting me 4.3, CMC goes for 21.3, McManus goes for about 10, and the San Francisco defense, double dipping CMC and San Fran defense in my trades here. Yahoo says 16. I think Brian, you and I both gained 12 points from our defenses. It kind of canceled each other out in the extra points there. So it was 28 from my defense. So all the guys who were upset trading for CMC, actually Breece Hall still scored, I think, 18 and a half, something like that. I guess Kevin didn't think that I should have traded the Baltimore Ravens defense. However, Kevin, I will say, yes, I agree with you that they've been great all year long. But as someone who's been paying attention to them, they were slowly but surely getting banged up on defense with injuries. And I am looking forward. I am not looking backwards. I've been thinking about unloading the Ravens defense for a little while now, and because I don't like their playoff schedule. And an opportunity showed itself to get probably the best defense in the league, one of the best. Probably gotta say Dallas is the best in the league right now. Cleveland also right up there. Cleveland, who has a fantastic, I will admit, though, Brian pointed out already, their playoff schedule is just gross. Way back earlier on in the season, I actually thought about trying to trade Brian for the Cleveland Browns defense, or hoping he would do something, drop them or something with them, just because I saw their playoff schedule defense. I was like, oh, there's playoff defense schedule. It's like, oh man, that is juicy. But then there's no way. Brian's got to realize this, and no way he's going to give them up for something easy. But yeah, I'm happy with those 2 moves. Actually, I think I gained about 11 points this week from my trades, so not too bad. But yeah. Anyway, it was enough to beat Hillbillies on PCP this week. CJ Stroud goes for 46. Nico goes for 13.5. The CJ Collins connection there. Pickens, 7.5. Curtis Samuel, actually only 1.5, and then gets ejected from that game. Chandler, your big free agent spend here, goes for 15. It's not a bad performance out of him. Practically like your second best performance. ETN only goes for 9. Kelsey goes for 15.5. Watson in the flex goes for 10. Robert Patterson, Vampire Batman, Twilight Batman gets 3, all extra points. And your Cleveland Browns defense ends up defeating, unfortunately, the Steelers. Like I said, Yahoo says 9, but we both got 12-point bumps. So that would take you up to 21. But yeah, it wasn't quite enough. Pickens, Samuel, kicker didn't do too much. I was actually this close to putting McCaffrey in one of my running back spots and putting Jaden Reed in the flex just for fun, to have him versus Watson and see what happens. Actually would have been a good move on my part if I had actually done that, because I would have moved Rachaad White to the bench against my defense. I actually would have gained about 1.5 if I had done that. Would have been way more fun. But yeah, I stuck with White, who is a good pass catcher. Did score a touchdown for me. I think the only touchdown, they did give up 2 touchdowns there, but kept White in just because of his pass catching abilities there. But anyway, with the victory, the Wizard of Limber moves up to 8-3. stays in second place, but is now caught up, record-wise at least, to the WC Hooligans. He lost his one-game advantage. Hillbillies on PCP drops to 7-4, and he actually drops down, gets leapfrogged by Darkwing Jet this week. He is now in fourth place. So sink in like a stone there, Brian, these last few weeks. All right, what do we got? Speak of Darkwing Jet, he was the one who knocked off the WC Hooligans this week. 189.9 to 158.25. All right, what do we got? For Darkwing, Stafford goes for 27.5. Tank Dell goes for, actually outscores your quarterback, goes for 29. This is going to be a tough wide receiver trio going forward. Tank Dell emerging, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb only 16.5 this week. And then you got Tyreek, 30.5 points. Yeah, that trio is going to be tough to go up against every single week. You got Kyron Williams coming back at running back there. So we'll see what happens. You got Dallas defense. You got your quarterback play might be your Achilles heel, Justin. You got Stafford said only 27.5. Russell Wilson, I don't know if you would feel comfortable starting him. But he did score 44. They've been trending up a little bit. But yeah, Darkwing Jet riding the ship these past couple of weeks. Going to be a tough team. Assuming he's going to make the playoffs, he's going to be a tough out come playoff time. So Najee goes for 4.5. James Conner, 8.5. Dalton Schultz, 11. James Cook, 19. Pretty good there. He's starting to come around a little bit after everyone. He was fading, but looks like he's starting to come around. Your kicker, Elliott, goes for 3. This matchup also, I guess I should say, kind of came down to Monday night. Darkwing had about a 30-point lead with Justin had the kicker for the Eagles, and Dub C had A.J. Brown. 30 points is, we all know 30 points is doable for A.J. Brown, but unfortunately for Kevin, this was a very quiet night from him, and Elliott, even though he only kicked 3 PATs, he actually outscored A.J. Brown by 1.2. So yeah, Justin breathing a sigh of relief there, although even if Brown had scored 30, that probably means Elliott maybe kicks 1 or 2 more extra points, possibly a field goal or 2, and said with Brown's success, would have been some success for Elliott there. So technically, Brown probably would have needed 35 to somewhere in the 35 to 40 point range to get the victory, but wasn't meant to be. Josh Allen goes for 44. Keenan Allen goes for 27.5. Ayuk goes for 29. Actually, you had 2 long touchdown bonuses, I should say. So Josh Allen actually had 47.25, and Ayuk actually had 32.5. But like I said, A.J. Brown only 1.8. Gus Edwards, 2 more touchdowns for him, 21 points. Foreman does score a touchdown, but now he's got a Q by his name, and he's got way more competition in the Bears running back room. Hawkinson, 9.5. You played the other Baltimore running back, Keaton. Why can't I say Keaton? Michael Keaton Mitchell goes for 5. Folk kicks 2 PATs, and your Jets defense, you actually might have been better off playing the Chiefs defense, even though they ended up losing the game. What did Jets do? Yahoo says 4. I think that might have been the actual score, 4. because all of your you got 2 long touchdown bonuses, 2 binks, I should say, and that moved you up 6 to where your score is. So yeah, the Jets defense only got you 4 points this week, and it was enough for Darkwing. He gets the victory. He moves up to 7-4. He is now said he leapfrogged Hillbillies on PCP. Excuse me, into 3rd place. While the Dub C Hooligans, despite the loss, he is now 8-3, but he stays in 1st place. But his point total is people are chipping away, people are coming for you, Kevin. It's going to be an excellent chase to the playoffs here in terms of standings and who is going to be the seedings, who's going to make the bye weeks and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race to the finish here. All right, then we got another team fighting for life, trying to climb his way back into it. We got Boomers going against AIDS, who, as we know, was trying to make a miracle run, come back, and unfortunately that ended very quickly on Thursday night as Joe Burrow went out with a season-ending wrist injury. He did get you almost 21 points before going out. Chase suffered. He did score a last-second touchdown to get you 9 points there. Excuse me. But anyway, why am I talking about the loser of this matchup? So you were both that AIDS was trying to hold on to hope and make a miracle run into the playoffs, but it fizzled out here on Thursday night as Boomers takes the victory, 163.55 to 117.85. All right, for Boomers, AIDS original quarterback, Dak, goes for 43. Thielen goes for 15.5. Captain Kirk, 8. Devontae, 21.2. Aaron Jones gets injured in this game, only 2.5. Mixon there Thursday night, scores a touchdown. Takes Bigler's, Burrow and Mixon take Bigler's parlay to the promised land. Get him some a nice chunk of change there. Mixon got 21 points. McBride, your tight end, goes for 9.5. Singletary, 23. Butker goes for 6 point something. And then you had your Vikings defense this week. They lost at Denver. Yahoo says 5. Looks like your bump was about 6. I think with 9. Maybe it must have been 9. Yeah, I thought maybe 9 would be too much, but that looks just right. So you got 14 from your defense. It was enough to get past. Said AIDS this week, who had said Burrow went down early and he's gone for the year. 21, just under 21. Chase got you 9.2. Waddle got you 9.5. Hollywood only 3.2. Gibbs, another good performance from him, though. He gets you 21.5. Shane comes back from his IR stint, his knee injury, and I believe on one of the very first, he was in for a couple plays, and he re-injured the same knee that was injured, so he didn't play the rest of the game. He got you 1.5 points, and just, but I don't know what else to do except laugh at just said I was rooting for you, Bigler, Disco, AIDS, whatever we want to call you, to at least come close to making that miracle comeback. But I mean, literally, if it can go wrong, it is going wrong for you. Oh, it said the Burrow to Chase connection is now gone. Chase is going to be iffy if he play for the rest of the year. And then even a Shane with huge. The guy's got. I mean, we all know he's got huge potential, but he comes back and in 2 or 3 plays, injures his same knee again. Like, just cannot catch a break this year. Logan Thomas goes for 8.8. Brees goes for 18.5. Dicker, we had a very explicit kicker matchup of curs here. Dick versus Butt. The battle of Dick versus Butt. In the Battle of the Curs was won by... Actually, I don't know who won because you both got 6 according to Yahoo. But I'm going to guess that Dicker Dicker pulled it out. Just barely. Anyway, and the Washington Commanders defense got another great matchup at home against the Giants. They got, by Danny DeVito, their quarterback, they got hammered by the Giants. They did have 9 sacks. Yahoo says 12. I think you got a 6-point bump to 18. Still not bad score from your defense, but they lost and got beat pretty bad. Did not see that coming by the New York Giants. But yeah, anyway, with the victory, Boomers moves up to 6-5. He is on the outside looking in, but he is knocking on the door of the playoffs in 7th place. Meanwhile, Gags and AIDS get leapfrogged by Possum Magic, no longer in the basement. AIDS is 3-8, and he is in 11th place now. All right, what do we got next? All right, Ed Lager versus Yinzer Jags. Like I said, Ed really needed this matchup to go his way. He is clinging to playoff hopes still, climbing. He's the only one under 500. If he had lost this game, really you probably need to win out your schedule, or you could maybe lose one more time, but I'm really not certain about that at this point. Ed said you really needed this win, though, to try and keep pace, try and claw your way up, especially with Boomers getting the victory and Biscuits getting a victory, and he was able to do it. It came down to Monday night. It was Mahomes and DeAndre Swift versus Jalen Hurts, plus 10 points. Said Yinzers had a 10-point advantage with the two quarterbacks going against each other, but he also had Swift needed to cover those 10 points at least, and everything fell right into place for Ed Lager. He gets the victory, except for the knockout pool. He gets the victory, 156.85 to Yinzer Jags with an even 139. Actually, he had, because Warren, I already put in the bonus there. Keep thinking, for some reason I confused myself about the long touchdown bonuses there. Anyway, said Ed needed Mahomes to outscore Hurts, and then Swift to cover those 10 points. Mahomes outscored Hurts 41.65 to 33.4. And then Swift actually almost scored 20 points, and it was enough to make... You ended up winning this by 27 or so points, almost 28. All right, so Mahomes went for 41.5. Mike Evans, 15.5. Zay Flowers, 8. Scary Terry, 9.5. Since Swift actually ended up with 19.7. Mostert, 10.5. Cole Kmet, 5. Smith and Jigba, 7. El McPherson goes for 8 point something. And then your Miami defense, Yahoo says 17. Looks like your bump was about... I don't think you had any long touchdown bonuses there, Ed. So I'm going to say 15 up to like 32. So pretty good score from your defense. Mahomes did what you needed him to do. And Swift there. For Yinzer Jags, fortunately, this matchup would not have changed. The outcome would not have changed if you had started Kyler Murray over Jalen Hurts. Actually, Murray would have outscored Mahomes by just a little bit. But I think so you would have gained about 9 points up to 148. but said Swift would have pulled this one through for Ed. Just would have been a little bit more painful for you. Boyd goes for 5. DJ Moore, 22.5. Cooper Kupp, only 2 before spraining his ankle and going out. Kenneth Walker, only 2.5 before injuring his oblique, I think, and missing pretty much most of that game. So another significant factor in this matchup. For Yinzer Jags, obviously Burrow going down on Thursday night, but Boyd only had 5, and then you lost Kupp and Walker. Both went out of the game for you with only scoring 2 point something. But Jaylen Warren popped off for you, got you a bink there, 29.5. Laporta just under 7. Lockett in the flex, 10. Prater, your kicker, goes for 6 point something. And then the Denver Broncos defense, plug and play, but it wasn't quite enough. Yahoo says 17. And it looks like your bump was, I think 6 would be too much because you had Warren there too. So it must have been 3 up to 20. But yeah, Mahomes, Swift, and the Miami Dolphins defense carried Ed Lager to victory this week, at least for now, keeping his season alive. With the victory, Ed Lager moves up to 5-6. So the only one in the hunt, still under 500, but looking to get back there. He is in 8th place, while Yinzer Jags drops to 6-5, and he is now in 5th place. And finally, we got Possum Magic versus Shawshank Athletics. Josh, if he had any glimmer of hope for holding on, trying to make a playoff spot, he needed to get this one, but Possum Magic says, no, I am taking you down with me. Possum Magic gets the victory, 179.45 to 148.9. All right, for Possum Magic, really, the result of this one, nothing to do with your trade, guys. Purdy and Ridley. Ridley, who's been extremely hit or miss this year, as we know. Purdy, he actually had a long touchdown bonus. He had a bink. He popped off this week for 57 points, and then Ridley had 31. So you got, 88 points from those two guys. So they popped off this week. They were a big factor here in your victory here. I still don't like the rest of your team and that you traded those guys away already so early. I understand why you did it and everything, but I still, the fantasy gods proved us wrong, I guess, at least this week, by having Purdy and Ridley pop off. But I still think, in general, your team, and it's not fair to say that they're not competitive, because I know that I definitely pointed out that you actually made it in the knockout pool until week 9, I think. So you held on. You were doing good. But just like the other guys that you got, I understand the future potential, and things kind of fell into place for you this week. We'll see what happens down the line. One of the guys you got, Rice, goes for 8. Rondell Moore only makes 1 catch, but it's a touchdown. 12.5 points, basically, from his 1 catch. Pacheco, 10. Matheson goes for 7. Kincaid, another pickup, was 10.5. And then a big one here was Brian Robinson, who also came from your trade. He actually scored 20 points this week, had 7 catches. They were trailing most of that game. And also Antonio Gibson was out, so most of the touches, Robinson definitely gained a lot of touches this week. So thanks to Gibson being out. And the rookie running back, I think his name is Rodriguez. I want to say he fumbled pretty quickly in that game, pretty early, one of his very first carries. He lost a fumble, so Robinson ended up getting most of the touches in that game. So he had 7 catches. I don't think he scored, but he did pretty well. Probably exceeded expectations in that matchup. But yeah, still Possum Magic, still just really Still disappointed in that trade. If you had made it next week, I would have no problem with it. But still, one of my biggest problems with it was that it was too early to be throwing your best two top 10 players off for still just guys who are essentially prospects for next year. Don't care that you did it. I just think you did it a few weeks, 2 weeks too soon. Anyway, what do I know? Hopkins goes for 6 point something, and the Steelers defense, Yahoo says 10. I don't think you had, you did have a bink there, so that would move you up to 72. So I guess with 9 would be too much, so you must have got 16 from the Steelers defense. But it was enough to knock off Shawshank this week, probably eliminate him from playoff contention. Herbert goes for 49. Amari Cooper, 7.5. Garrett Wilson, 2 catches, but he lost a fumble. He gets you 0.9. D-Hop goes for 16. Saquon catches 2 touchdowns, goes for 30 points this week. Not enough, though, from Herbert and Saquon. Henry, only 5.5. Njoku, 12.5. Jordan Addison in the flex there, 7.5. Zerline, your kicker, actually gets you 0. And then the Baltimore Ravens defense, Yahoo says 11. You didn't have any binks there, Josh. Looks like you got a 9-point bump to 20 from your Baltimore defense there. But yeah, said Herbert, your decent scores from your buns there, and Saquon, but just too many single-digit scores there. Basically, Wilson and your kicker getting you less than 1 point combined really hurt you here. It was a 31-point difference. But yeah, just good enough performances. Possum got 88 from his quarterback and Ridley this week, and it was enough to take down Shawshank. Like I said, Possum Magic, he moves up to 3-8, leapfrogging in the standings, gags and aids into 10th place thanks to your point totals. Like you said, you made it pretty long in the knockout pool. Shawshank Athletics, he drops to 4-7, which is where I think Ed needed to avoid falling to as well, but he was able to do it. Josh, not so much, and he drops to 9th place. That means that Josh, your best possible record is 7-7. Taking a look at the other standings here, and just from the way things are falling, we've already got 4 teams with at least 7 wins, 3 teams with 6. So 7 wins, and Josh, you're kind of behind there in the overall point total. So even if you were able to win out and get to 7-7, I just don't think so. You'd be fighting for one of those last 2 playoff spots with 4 other people, and I just don't think it's meant to be. The way things are falling. So yeah, Josh, you are probably at this point playing for pride. Take some people down with you, like Possum took you down with him. All right, that is it for what happened in Week 11. Let's see. So we got Detling as we speak. Still waiting to hear for some news on the baby coming. Supposed to be coming today, I guess. I don't know if it happened yet, but I haven't heard anything. Can't wait to see little Farrah Fawcett Detling. Assuming you're keeping the tradition of the F's going there, like Franz Ferdinand Detling there. But so yeah, that's the biggest thing for today. Also, obviously, you guys know that the Steelers, for the fun, I think it said for the first time since 1941, they fired a coach during the season. Canada is gone. and we'll see what happens. I think they're basically replacing him with two guys, the quarterbacks coach and the running backs coach. I think the running backs coach is now the coordinator, but he is going to be assisted by the quarterbacks coach. So I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. Should be interesting to see. But yeah, so we got Thanksgiving coming up here on Thursday. I'm sure Detling will be way too busy to do anything. Everybody's going to be busy Thursday night there, all over the place, visiting family and things like that. So let's take a quick look ahead at Week 12 and see what the matchups are. We got Gags versus Possum. No one's going to care about that matchup because they're both basically playing for pride at this point. Well, we got AIDS versus Shawshank. Another matchup that really doesn't matter probably, other than pride. But the other four matchups in this week said all four teams who are kind of out of it are playing each other this week. That means the top 8 teams who are fighting for playoff spots here and stand position in the playoffs, fighting just to make it and fighting for position. All 8 teams are going up. We're all going up against each other here. So this actually should be another pretty exciting week to watch and see what happens with the standings. All right, we got the Wizard going up against Boomers, who is actually on a 4-game win streak, trying to climb after an 0-3 start, trying to climb his way back in to the playoff hunt here. So he is currently at 7, and he is trying to climb up. But he said he's going up against the Wizard there. Wizard looking to keep pace, if not jump ahead of Dub C Hooligans down the stretch here. This is actually probably said the last 3 games here for me. I got Boomers, but then I've got Shawshank and AIDS. Not going to say those are 2 gimme matchups, but hopefully should win at least 2 of the last 3 matchups here and get to 10 wins, hopefully. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Then we got said Ed trying to climb his way back. Hold on. He's going up against Biscuits, one of the guys that he's trying to chase and knock back down. So that's going to be a really good matchup to watch too. If Ed can get that victory, both teams would then be 6-6. So yeah, that's going to be an important matchup here. Then we've got, let's take a look at the schedules here going down the line. Since we've only got 3 weeks left for people trying to get their way in, Biscuits, he's got Ed, and he's got Justin, and he's got Brian. So 3 not so easy matchups the rest of the way. As for Ed, he's obviously got Jim, but then he's got Gags and Possum. So if Ed can get past this week, he's not going to, not going to say that those are easy matchups. So possibly it's even Possum there at the end. If Ed can get past this week, he should make it to at least 7 wins, possibly 8, and perhaps sneak his way into the playoffs. So it's going to be a great run here towards the end. Then we've got Darkwing in 3rd versus Yinzer Jags in 5th. Let's see. So Justin currently riding a 3-game win streak after he was 4-4, 500, trying to get himself back up into the standings here. While Yinzer Jags has dropped a little bit. He's said he's 6-5. He needs to get this one. He doesn't want to drop back to 6-6 and be potentially tied with Biscuits or Ed or Boomers here. So Yinzer's really needs win number 7, while Darkwing is trying to keep pace with Dub C and the Wizard and possibly snatch a playoff bye here down the stretch run. So that's another great matchup. And then we've got number 1, Dub C Hooligans going up against the Hillbillies on PCP, who have lost 2 games in a row. Dub C had his 5 or 6 game win streak snapped this week. As Brian pointed out in the podcast this week, you really do, Brian. You have a brutal schedule down the line here. So you weren't able to get past the Wizard. Now you've got Dub C, Yinzer Jags, and Biscuits and Porn. I said, Brian, you won, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row earlier. Could you possibly end the season on a 5-game losing streak? These are all, you really need at least one of these. But yeah, no joke. I sympathize with you. You've got a brutal schedule here down the line. So you're already at 7 wins. You really need to get at least to 8. But yeah, you got a tough road ahead. You're going to have to sweat it out these last couple of weeks. As for Dub C, what's he got coming up? He's said obviously he's got Hillbillies, but then he's got Boomers, who's trying to fight his way in still. And then he's got Shawshank. So not great, but not bad either for Dub C down the line here. But I believe in week 13, Dub C has a ton of bye week issues. So Boomers could actually take advantage, if he can take advantage of that. If Boomers can knock off the Wizard this week and then take advantage of Dub C having a lot of bye week issues next week in week 13, that could be really good for him. So yeah, these 4 matchups, a lot riding on them this week. So yeah, I like how it has worked out this week. That said, those 4 teams who are basically out of the playoff hunt right now are all playing each other, and all the other 4 matchups are crucial to the playoff race, standings wise, seeding wise, and all that, bye week wise, all of those things coming down to it this week. Yeah, 4 very important and should be very interesting matchups this week to watch. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Hoping to keep pace and maybe jump ahead of Dub C. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. While I'm thinking about it, one of the reasons also why I wanted to move the Baltimore Ravens defense, I should say, is because they still have their bye week coming up, and it is week 13. That is next week. Just gonna put this out there. I don't know, but I guess nobody has seemed to notice this yet. That I traded Josh for San Francisco's defense, the Ravens defense, and Jordan Addison. Both of those have week 13 byes. And guess who I play in week 13? Josh. So I traded you 2 players who are going to be on a bye the week that I play you. As of right now, Josh, and I knew this, I don't know if anybody else, I don't even know if Josh knows this. In week 13, Josh currently has no defense. None. He's going to have to pick somebody up. So yeah, that was part of the strategy. You got no Saquon that week. I traded you 2 players who are going to be on a bye that week. So, sneaky. The Wizard. So I don't know. Nobody really seemed to notice that little factor there. So, hoping that plays into my hands there and I'm able to get a victory. That helps me get a victory over Josh next week. Just want to take a quick peek here, actually, and see what defenses are available to Josh, because he's going to have to pick up somebody. Bengals defense, that's actually not too bad. Somebody dropped, they were on waivers here. But they are at Jacksonville, not an ideal matchup. What else we got for week 13? Packers, but they're playing the Chiefs. You don't like that. Washington is, they got Miami. Don't like that for you. Bears, what do they got? The Bears are on a bye. Phew, yeah. Rams, maybe Carolina? At Tampa Bay, Rams defense. At home against Cleveland. Yeah, you really. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Maybe you'll go with Tennessee at home against the Colts. Uh, Patriots against the Chargers. Don't like. I mean, you have currently no real good options, which makes me happy, Josh, for week 13. Um, Cardinals at Steelers. I don't know. But yeah, I still okay. Yeah, you really have no good options. So yeah, just to toot my own horn, I guess. Yeah, the Wizard. You got Josh. You got played. But anyway, I really, but also said you got some of you guys were really upset about um, me acquiring CMC. However, like you said, I said already, he only outscored Brees Hall this week by 3 points, and he's going to be Brees was a fourth round keeper next year. Believe me, I wrestled with did I want to do this and throw away? I mean, not throw away, but like lose a potential solid keeper, maybe somebody that I could trade in the off season for stuff, and really just I would have to say the push came down to Jim's trade with Tree. Like, gotta do something to try and make a push here. As good, as nice as it is to have a bunch of keeper potential on your final roster, I am here to win now. Okay? And I want to win this year. I know I've got some stuff on my bench and on my roster still that I like for next year. But again, not really concerned about that right now. I play to win this season right now. I want to beat Demise. I don't want him getting. I want number 7. I don't want Jim getting the back-to-back knockout pool money. We want that pot to build. We want to get big. Let it keep growing. We don't want Jim to do that. So gotta make a little bit of changes here. We'll see what happens. Today is it's now Wednesday the 22nd, just after midnight as I'm finishing this up. So we got about 10 days till the trade deadline. We'll see what happens. Anybody makes some moves here to try and solidify their lineup. But like I said, a lot of people who are making a run here just really don't need too much, honestly. Dub C really, outside of his starting lineup, he is already well aware. Outside of his starting lineup, he really doesn't have much to trade with. So unless he does something big here, he's probably good with his starting lineup and just hoping that everybody stays healthy. Justin, he's fine. He's stacked, really. Maybe he tries to make a play for a better quarterback. But other than that, we'll see what happens with you got Kyron Williams coming back, who is playing pretty strong. Your receiver trio is gross still. Even after trading Lockett, Tank Dell emerging. We'll see what happens with your running backs. Obviously, Cowboys defense. Yeah, Justin, you're okay. Brian, Biscuits there already boosted his lineup. Boomers been trading on and off. Not really sure there's too much he could do. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure we're not done when it comes to trading. But I don't really know who is going to make a move and what it would be. But yeah. Whew, all right. Winded from this talking. I don't know how some of you can do it all day long. Anyway, all day, every day. Some people like to do it. But anyway, yeah. So that's what happened in week 11. So Dub C wins the knockout pool. We'll see if he can hold on to the number 1 spot and win the regular season championship on his way to trying to pull off the Triple Crown, the Tonto's Triple Crown. But yeah, all the rest of us are chasing you, breathing down your neck there, narrowing the gap there, Dub C. Gonna make you sweat these last couple weeks here. But again, once again, here in week 12, those 4 matchups, said the 8 top teams right now, all are playing each other. So it's going to be a very exciting week in terms of the playoff chase here. So really looking forward to seeing what happens. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. Hope you all have a great holiday, Thanksgiving. Don't get out shopping too early. Fuck Black Friday. Anybody who goes out shopping Black Friday is stupid. That's just my personal opinion. There's no reason for this. To doing any of that crap. Just sit at home and enjoy yourself. Are you really saving that much? Is it worth saving whatever money it is anyway? Kevin, your dog took a shit right on Alf's face there. You might want to clean that up, please. Disco, I don't know if you guys can make that out. His sweat, as we all know, kills strippers. So I don't know if you can read that. Disco sweat kills strippers. Maybe not kills them, repels. Maybe I should have changed that to repels strippers. Anyway, stripper repellent. All right. Whew, guys, thanks for listening, watching, and again, have a great holiday. It's going to be a great week in Tonto's Demise to see what happens. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, everybody else is. May all of your players meet or exceed expectations. No injuries, and everybody has fun. And we come back here next week to recap the events of Thanksgiving and week 12. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.